let's look at how we'd apply the 7 steps model to the example we've been playing with, HVAC in a hurry. And we've got Trent, we've identified this job to be done, these alternatives, and we validated, for the moment at least, this value proposition. Now the question is, how do we declare a usability hypothesis and then test it? And the best way to declare these usability hypotheses is just through writing good Agile user stories like the ones you see here. This is an epic story, and this is one of the child stories of, for example, several different ways that he might search and what he might do when he finds the results that we would unpack this into and test. I'll give you a minute to kind of have a look at these. Let's look at how they would unpack into the 7 steps model. The goal here is what? It is to get a replacement part to the job site. And we're going to unpack this into a set of steps. We're going to assume that we're going to specifically be testing how he would search for a part that where he already knows the part number. We probably want to test all those, but we'll just look at that specific example. In the plan step, he is choosing an alternative, and that's a question of both usability and motivation. When we user test, however, we're going to supply motivation. So we're going to say to our test subject something like, hey, here's a prop that's an HVAC part with a part number on it. Can you show me how you would find this using, hypothetically, the interactive prototype we're putting in front of them in Balsamiq? And so here, we are externalizing this. We're planning. Our plan step here is something where we're supplying that to them. We're telling them what it is because we're controlling for motivation. We're just trying to test usability here. Specify. Now this is where the action is. This is where we're going to learn about how natural the mapping is from the ideas our subject is carrying into the test to what we're showing them. Is it obvious to our subject how they would accomplish the tasks that we've supplied them the motivation to do with the interface we're giving them? Can they execute on that? And then, and this is really important, particularly if you're at an endpoint or you're using a static prototype, we want to make sure that they understand the feedback that they're getting. So once however we're going to have them input the part search, then we're going to ask them, okay, what do you think you're seeing here? Or what just happened when we show them, for example, the results page, because that's really what we're measuring. And that's the result that we're going to use in our usability hypothesis to say, okay, we got a positive or we got a negative on that particular test item. As we go forward, we'll come back to this example, but that is the relationship between the 7 steps model, user stories, and the way that you go through and isolate motivation and test usability with them.